remotely as quickly as he did.
I once saw this guy.
We're going to analyze a hand I found extremely interesting at the 25K heads up at the WSOP. Mizrachi the grinder versus a Japanese player Nakay. Mizrachi opens, Nakay goes for a sort of awkward 7.5 big blind 3-bet. All fine and good. Preflop is very standard.
Won the shootout
it's
table.
It's 9-handed, right?
Yes. 10-handed, I think, back then. Anyway, Grinder defends the 3-bet. He raised the button and calls a 3-bet with 8-5 of diamonds here.
Bad hand against 2 9s, and now things getting worse for him as he flops top pair and expects that Nakay isn't interacting with this board outside of maybe an ace-x having a wheel draw.
Yeah, and they still 100 big blinds deep, but I think we're going to see some carnage. Grinder raised the button and got 3-bet, defended, and flopped top pair. Oh, he's sizing up.
260,000.
Clicked it.
Again, this is just perception that Nakay isn't in the vicinity of this 5-trade deuce.
Yeah, he's trying to make Nakay folds like ace, king, ace, queen.
Okay, so on the flop, the solver chose a 25% 3.8 big blind c-bet size, so I had to add the overbet here. And the solver still doesn't really use the overbet when I do add it. However, overpairs like the 9s are one of the best candidates to do so. So his overbet isn't necessarily a huge mistake, I think. Yeah, but then the response to the overbet, that is where it gets weird. The solver was shoving, so I changed it to min raising. You know, but when I add the shove, the solver really only shoves and doesn't choose the min raise, so it becomes awkward, you know, like I would have to note lock some sort of frequency into the min raise for this solve to make sense. And we can already see that the A5 of diamonds is actually a fold, you know. Top pairs to this huge bet are actually folding quite a lot, which is, yeah, can be surprising to some, and I didn't even think about it, but you know, kind of surprising to me that hands like King 5 and yeah, that a lot of top pairs are folding like that. Kind of surprising, but again, like about the sizing, I can start note locking that in. You know, we can speculate that Grinder does have shoves in his range, so yeah, should we go with the note lock here? Let's check it out. The range. Yeah, let's just go with 1%. Yeah, it becomes super awkward, you know. It doesn't even do 1% somehow. I can do 2% and then, yeah, it's becomes super weird. But yeah, we can, because all-in was shoving 3%. Yeah, you see the all-in slider is getting down from 3% to 2% when I add the min raise, just for, you know, to keep the GTO balance, I think. But yeah, we can try it like this. Why not? Like, let's make this his range. But then again, we have to note lock in the combo hands, you know, of the 8-5 of diamonds. Like, he didn't really want to call. See, because call was already a mix and mostly a fold. So he didn't really want to call. So he chose the min raise. Now let's, yeah, he probably does it pure in reality, right? But let's at 10%, and then yeah, I have no idea. This becomes just very tricky. We can add 10% for the raise and then 10% for the call, because 8-5 of diamonds was, you know, folding over 90%, right? So yeah, this becomes super awkward. We make this 80% then. We can also make it that he never calls and only raises, but it just becomes awkward. Let's just do it like this, 80%. So yeah, we're just gonna go with this 80-10-10. It's weird. So we go to that combo and we click it. I guess the A5 of spades have to come along with it. Okay, so this is all locked now. Yeah, so yeah, we're just assuming that Grinder has some shoves and some min raises. It becomes super weird, but this is maybe the closest, you know, to reality. You know, this is probably a decent way to go along. I can also remove the all-in, making it easier, but I just think he has all-ins, and this might be actually better. So okay, we saw that the min raise with A5 of diamonds was in fact minus EV. yeah, like minus 2.63 blinds. So that already was, yeah, a pretty big mistake in GTO sense. But then again, like Nakay did refuse to shove with a combo he is supposed to shove. Right, it's pretty close, but a lot of his overpairs just need to go with it, especially holding the club. Interestingly, all the overpairs without the club are calling, whereas the overpairs with the club are just mostly shoving. So his nines, even though close, was supposed to shove. So that already makes Mizrachi's play a little bit better, but still it's probably pretty bad.
Ace queen type hands.
But when Nakay makes the call, we begin to consider
Three checks.
whether or not there are some other hands that could be lurking.
Grinder has less than pot left.
Oh, did he
wow.
just jam?
He's all in. He's all in. The Grinder. Grinder's tricky, man.
Call.
One
Grinder
pair.
is tricky.
Ah, Nakay begrudgingly, but correctly, makes the call. And now the Grinder is down to
I thought you had
5
to draw
outs.
maybe clubs.
So 10 of spades. Now for the interesting part, because wow, we see Nakay, when the 10 hits, he gets to shove a lot. Like all these overpairs that we're calling now see a safe, very safe turn. He hits some 10s, so he gets to shove a lot. Right, we do see this sort of range advantage. The light blue line is Nakay. And SPR is very low, so he just gets to shove his range advantage when the 10 hits, all these overpairs. So yeah, all these overpairs that now see a safe turn are supposed to shove. Interestingly though, the 9s with the club, because again, like they are shoving to sort of charge and deny the flush draw to see a cheap river, and so they're unblocking more flush draws here that are probably in Mizrachi's range. Whereas with the flush draw here, this is actually checking, so this difference is interesting to see. It probably has to do with the flush draw sort of dynamic. Without going further into that, he is supposed to shove a lot of overpairs, but indeed check his combo, so that was the right check for Nakay. As played, now this is interesting to see. The 8-5 with diamonds actually gets to shove, and that probably means that Nakay is definitely folding a lot of better hands. Right, this is supposed to be mostly going to be about folding better hands while getting called by some worse, clearing equity and all that. So this was actually, the flop, might exploitably good. It was a very, big mistake in GTO sense, minus EV. 2.63, so that likely was a mistake, but at the turn Mizrachi actually made a pretty decent shove, so that was pretty nice because he almost folded out the 9s. Yeah, and I actually suspected this is just a slam dunk call. And I just said that the 8-5 is supposed to fold out better. Well, I cannot see any. That was just a big brain fart on my part. Totally biased by the hand itself, because Nakay was almost folding the 9s. 8-5 isn't folding, it's supposed to fold out anything better. It's just purely to, I don't know, to just get it in at a low SPR and folding out all this equity, right? All these folds here. Blocking pocket 8s, which is supposed to be a big range for Nakay and all that, So yeah, it's not folding out any better hands, and the 9s is just one of the... Look at that, 58.5. So actually, coming back to the flop play here, if Nakay is playing this so passively and so nitty, tanking so hard about the 9s, where he tanked so he was almost folding, So this might actually turn this sort of what seems to be a mistake by Mizrachi might actually be genius by him exploitatively. Knowing that Nakay is just going to be too passive, not shoving, enough overpairs, maybe not any, or just way less than he's supposed to, and it's very clear to see, right? He's just he was sort of passively or nittily calling the 9s here, even though he's supposed to shove. And on the river, he just tanked for way too long. It was way too tough of a decision for him. You know, this is just, yeah, a tournament, but it's heads up. So a cash game solution would pretty much suffice, right? 58.5. It was just like, if anyone made a mistake, you can almost say Nakay made a mistake, you know, finding this so hard of a decision. He did end up calling, but it's such a slam dunk call. And the only GTO mistake was Mizrachi. But again, if Nakay is playing this too passively on the flop and playing like an absolute nit on the turn like this, he might have actually been a total master exploitatively, and I should just shut up about him making a mistake. So that's it for this video. I found it a super interesting hand, and I just wanted to solve this, so I decided to make a video about it. You know, awesome result. I learned a lot, you know, really cool to see the results. That the 9s is such a slam dunk call, 8-5 mistake on the flop, whereas on the turn it's a mix, you know, pretty interesting, you know. So I think Mizrachi might have just played this, you know, like an absolute boss. You know, being that Nakay might have been too nitty overall with his range. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.
I think that if Grinder was covering, he might have pulled that off, but I think Nakay also still has 80-something big blinds left if he's wrong. Really factored into it.
And an ace on the end is going to send your reigning World Series of Poker main event champ to the rails, 60,000.